Hello Stitchy friends, welcome to this week's video. Please be sure to watch till the end to see who the shout out is for this week. If you want to get a shout out in my video next week, just send me a picture message of a craft that you're proud of. It doesn't have to be cross stitch, it can be crochet, it can be knitting, it can be anything that you think of. Please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and that you follow me on Instagram. And I did recently change my Instagram handle to Liz_Disney Craft Girl so that it matches the name of my YouTube channel. Alright, that felt like a really long intro. So today's video that I'm making has been requested by a few people. And when I mean a few, I mean like 3, because there's not a lot of you out there yet. Basically, it's just people want to know how I cross stitch, specifically how the backs of my pieces look and how to work around those pesky confetti areas. So I'm just going to make a quick video. I'm experimenting with camera angles and trying to get this all to work because I want the focal point to be my work and not my face, but I still want you to be able to see my face because I know when I'm watching tutorials I get really bored when I don't see the person's face. But that's just me. Alright, so we're going to give this a go. I'm going to try and maneuver things around. Maybe I'll have 2 cameras up at once. I'm not sure. This is a journey, guys. Alright, let's see what's going to happen. In this beginning part, I'm showing you exactly where I was starting. Right now I'm starting with the symbol that looks like a lowercase e, and it's kind of a rusty color. And then at the bottom I'm showing where it is on the pattern and then where it is on my actual cross stitch. And I have a little purple colored pencil there so I can mark my place off. Now I do things a little backwards. As you can see, I started at the top left hand corner and went to the bottom right hand corner. I know this is backwards. I know that when you read things it's actually start at the bottom left and go to the bottom right and go to the top left. But for me, I've always done it backwards because that's how you read. So you can see I did the 3 that was according to the pattern. I did 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going back and I'm going 1, 2, 3. So I'm just doing your basic cross stitch here. Sorry, and I'm watching what I recorded because I couldn't figure out how to do 2 different camera angles. Alright. So I completed that row, I paused, I go back up to my pattern, and I found where I was, I marked it off with my purple colored pencil. So then, after that, see I'm marking, I was up 1 and over 1. So then I go back down to my pattern, my actual cross stitch, and I'm going to find where I started, so I did the 1, and then I'm going to go over, up 1 and over 1. And I'm going to go ahead and cross stitch the same way. Like I said, this is backwards. I go top left, bottom right, top left, bottom right, top left, bottom right. Then I go backwards, top right, bottom left, top right, bottom left, top right, bottom left. Now I've always started at the bottom because if I were to start at the top, if I did this way and then you go back this way, that one hole that everything lands on is right where your needle needs to go. So that's why I start from the bottom up, because my stitches start from the top to the bottom. Now I know a lot of people, if you start from the bottom up, you can go down to bottom for that exact reason. But like I said in my videos before, I never had YouTube. I had to figure this out on my own when I was 8 years old, and I could kind of read and I could kind of follow the pictures, and this is what my little 8-year-old brain figured out. Now the project that I am working on is my first Heaven and Earth Designs pattern. This is a design by Randall Spangler, and it is the mini trellis rose in. I was so excited. Okay, then I go back to marking it off. And you can see I point for the next spot that I go, which from that top row where I just finished is 3 over. And it's going to be those 2 little other E's. So that's where I'm going to next. So then I'm going to find where I was on my pattern again. well, not my pattern, sorry, my cross stitch. I'm counting 1, 2, and 3. Okay, found it, great. Now I'm going to cross stitch top left, bottom right, and then I noticed it's one on top of the other. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to cross stitch the next one. Again, top left to bottom right. And this is exactly how I would do things. This is how I cross stitch. This is when I'm in the zone. Of course, I'm going much faster. I don't mark them off every single solitary time. But I'm not going to go top right, bottom left, because I want my stitches to lay nice. So I'm actually going to go bottom left, top right, bottom left, top right. I'm going this way, then this way. That's just always how I've done it. For me, I like how my stitches lay when I do it that way. Alright, great. Placed my needle back on my Disneyland needle minder, crossed that off. Then I counted 1, 2, 3 from that top E to the next row. So then I'm going to find it back on my actual cross stitch. Took me a minute apparently. Bad camera angle. Sorry guys. Really bad camera angle, Liz. You suck at this. Alright, so but I noticed it was, 2 and skip 1 and actually cross stitch 1. And that's actually what I do. I will skip over 1. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing. You know, I know some people, they really care about what the backs of theirs look like. I mean, I care. My mom told me the back should look as good as the front, but I will skip over 1. My max is 3. I will never skip over more than 3. Oh, I got a little knot here. It happens. Not a big deal. And we're back. Got the knot figured out. Usually if you just stick your needle through one of the loops, it pulls out pretty easy, which that one did. I just needed both hands. So you can see I skipped the 1, keep going. And it was a little, I mean, I have noticed that once you have a knot, it kind of sucks because like the floss is, it's like it's damaged and it doesn't want to work as well. I'm sure there's other people that know how to fix that better than me, but I just persevere and just push on and just go ahead and do it. So then I've skipped over the 1. Yeah, so you got a little stuck right there. Pull it on through. Come on, Liz, you can do it. You're struggling. Alright, so then we got that row taken care of. Cross it off with a colored pencil. And I like to use multiple colors. So then I go to the next row, which is right on top. So I don't have to count up and over or anything. I just go straight into the next stitch. And I am going to skip that 1 that's already there. Oh, see, look, got to pull a knot out, and it's perfectly fine. But I have noticed that once it starts to knot, it's just going to stay, like, it's just more prone to it, basically, and it drives me crazy. Alright. So yeah, that's my basics. That's how I do things. Now when it comes to confetti stitching, I apply my rule of I won't skip over more than 3 squares to get to the next one. I hate it if I only have to cross stitch just the 1 square, but if that's what the pattern calls for, then that's what the pattern calls for. There's really not much I can do about that. Kind of sucks. I hate confetti stitching. To be honest, I would rather cross stitch an entire page of one color than do confetti stitching. Anybody else feel that way, or is that just me? Alright. Oh good. Oh, see look, it just keeps knotting up a little bit. Drives me crazy. And that's just my rhythm. I know that there's multiple ways of doing things. Now, for me, I do what's called anchor my floss. So I actually do a knot before I start cross-stitching. And I know there's the loop method, and I know people are going to be like, don't knot your floss. That's so bad. I've been doing this for 24 years. And I haven't had a problem with knotting my floss at all. Sometimes I get a huge knot in my floss, and guess what? I don't cut it out. I just keep going. These are probably horrible habits, but I've made it work. I know that sometimes it's a problem if you don't iron it flat enough, and that's where the knots on the back can be a problem. But my mom irons mine, and she does a fantastic job, and I've never seen any issues with any of the ones I've made. I haven't gotten any complaints. Then again, I've only made ones for my family. But anyway, so this is also the back. Now, my mom has told me that the back of your cross stitch should look just as good as the front. Now mine doesn't look just as good as the front because, as you can see, I make knots, and knots don't look the prettiest. But it works for me. You can still tell the difference from the back. You can see the basic pattern is coming through from the back to the front. I don't like to, I think it's called traveling. I don't know. I've heard a lot of new terms lately. Although I have learned that my style is called cross country. So I know with these Heaven and Earth designs, they recommend that you go by a 10 by 10 square. I don't like doing that. I feel like it holds me back. So I've actually taken one page, as you can see my little setup, and I'm going to do that whole page, but I'm going to do that one color in the entire page. And then I'm going to move on to the next color that I feel like doing. Now, doing this Heaven and Earth Designs pattern is very different for me. I'm used to a very different style of cross stitching, and I didn't get pre-gridded fabric, and I didn't grid my fabric. Kind of regretting it, I won't lie. I think on the next one, the next Heaven and Earth Designs that I do, I'm going to definitely get the pre-gridded fabric. I think it's going to help a ton because you have so many similar colors within one space that the grid lines, I know where I am on my actual pattern, but once I get to the actual cross stitching, I'm like, oh shoot, I don't know where I'm at. And that's the first time for me, and it's a little bit of a struggle. But anyway, so that was just a little quick video on how I personally do my cross stitching. And I can go more in depth if you would like me to go more in depth. I can talk about all the different types of stitches there are. There's, you know, your basic cross stitch. There's a half stitch, quarter stitch, French knots, back stitching, tent stitch, which is another one I just learned. And then of course there's all these fancy type of embroidery stitches that I'm not very good at. I just know the basics of actual cross stitch. So if you want a video on how to do all the other types of stitches that are out there, please let me know in the comments below. Alright, so now we've gotten to the part of my video for my weekly shout out. And this weekly shout out is from a young woman. Her name is Holly, and the picture that she sent in to me was Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. Oh my gosh, I did not even know you could do a cross stitch like this. Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. I am not a huge art buff, but I do know the classics, and I know that Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh is one of my all-time favorites. So she sent this to me. I was blown away. I think I was at work when I actually got the picture, and I had to, like, conceal my excitement from the rest of my coworkers because none of them care about cross stitch. But this is absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love this. And her Instagram account is called Stitchy Prose. Of course, I will have the shout out of her name and her Instagram handle. Please give her a look and a follow. She does some awesome stuff on her Instagram profile. It looks like she's got a whole bunch of other stuff that is just right up my alley. In particular, I love the Harry Potter, those little figurine type ones. I love those. I really need to get one of those patterns of like the mini people or whatever. They look like little, those Weeble Wobble toys that don't fall down. That's what they remind me of. Anyway, go check out Holly Stitchy Prose on Instagram. Her Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh is absolutely gorgeous. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And if you want to be a shout out on next week's video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram, which my handle did change, Liz, Lizz _ Disney Craft Girl. Thank you guys so much. I love you. See you next week.